Hello friends, I am Dilip Kapadia. Now here I am going to talk about my book. Prior to that, I would like to say something about myself. હું ગુજરાતી છું અને ગુજરાતી એ મારી બેઝિક લેંગ્વેજ છે અને ઇંગ્લિશ ઇઝ માય સેકન્ડ લેંગ્વેજ. એટલે બંને મિક્સ લેંગ્વેજમાં આમ તો હું રહેતો હોઉં છું, બોલતો હોઉં છું, જીવતો હોઉં છું. મારા લેંગ્વેજ પ્રત્યેના કોઈ પણ માણસ જો કંઈક લખે કે એવું કોઈ ક્રિએશન કરે તો એને એ લેંગ્વેજની ઘણી એફિનિટી હોવી જોઈએ, એ વસ્તુ ચોક્કસ નક્કી છે. ઇન દેટ કેસ આઈ વોઝ ગુજરાતી રીડર, બટ એટ ધ સેમ I was also lured by English. So sort of I was glamorized by that English language, and I have read English books and all those things. Gujarati language ma pan I had written some articles in Gujarat Mitra, Mumbai Samachar, Janmabhoomi Pravasi and all those. લેંગ્વેજ વિશે મારું માનવું એવું છે કે when a child is born, he doesn't come alone. He comes on this earth with a very strong weapon. Not only strong, it is very sturdy too, and that is language. He comes with a very strong weapon which helps him till he lives. I believe in his foetus, that is embryo format also, that small form also must be talking with itself. એ ભાષા કઈ હશે એ હજુ સુધી કોઈને ખબર નથી પડી, અને મારી એવી માન્યતા છે કે વર્લ્ડ વિલ નેવર નો what that stuff is talking about. We call it stuff. Why? Because it has not taken yet a birth. Then when it comes out, it cries. I feel that is not a cry. It's just a threatening to you. Why am I here? What is all this? And with that spirit, but then it subsides, of course. It has to get accustomed to where it comes. એટલે એ રીતે લેંગ્વેજ થ્રુ આઉટ માણસની સાથે રહેતી હોય છે ઇન વન ફોર્મેટ ઓર ધી અધર. હવે લેંગ્વેજનું ફોર્મેશન એક જુદી વાત છે. આઈ ડોન્ટ નો વાય ઇટ ઇઝ સો સ્ટેગ્નન્ટ ઓર સ્ટેટિક. There must be some very serious reason. Not must be, there is. કારણ કે બહુ હજારો વર્ષ પહેલાં કોઈ પણ ભાષાની જે ફોર્મેશન થયું હશે તે આજે પણ એ જ ચાલુ છે. There should not have been any change in the meaning making of that word. આપણે ડિક્શનરીમાં જો રિફર કરીએ તો પણ એ શબ્દ વાઇઝ અંદરથી શબ્દની બહાર નહીં જઈ શકાય, શબ્દની અંદર રહીને જ શબ્દને સમજી શકાય. આ બધી વાતોની ધીરે ધીરે જેમ પ્રમાણે મને સમજ પડતી ગઈ તેમ પ્રમાણે મને એવું લાગ્યું કે લેંગ્વેજમાં એટલી બધી એડવાન્સમેન્ટની જરૂરત જ નથી. લેંગ્વેજ ખાલી જાણવાની જરૂરત છે. એનું એડવાન્સમેન્ટ ઇઝ નોટ અવર વર્ક. હા, એડિશન્સ થતા હશે, સમ સાયન્ટિફિક વર્ડ્સ એન્ડ ઓલ ધોઝ, બટ એનું ફોર્મેશન ફિક્સ રહે છે. એટલે ઇટ રિમેન્સ વેરી સ્ટેટિક. ઇઝ અ વેરી મેજિક થિંગ. વેન હોલ વર્લ્ડ ઇઝ ચેન્જિંગ, ધ લેંગ્વેજ we might not have realized that thing. It has to remain very stagnant, very much in its own form. No one should try to change the form. No one can probably, because the meaning changes. How the meanings are derived of the language, if it is a spoken language, as you know, it's a sound technology in which with certain sound, if it is spoken, or even other sounds which are coming from the atmosphere, it is understood, it is perceived perfectly. Whereas written form, as I have understood, is sort of a writing in a geometrical precision. Otherwise, if it is not in that format, એક પણ શબ્દમાં જરા બી જાતની ભૂલ થાય કે ફેરફાર હોય તો the message will differ immediately. It has to be જ્યોમેટ્રીમાં કે રીતે ચોક્કસ પ્રકારના મેઝર્સથી કામ થાય છે તે પ્રમાણે એકચ્યુઅલી રિટન લેંગ્વેજમાં થતું હોય છે. એટલે લેંગ્વેજની લખતી વખતે હાથથી લખેલું ગમે તે હોય એમાં કોઈ પણ રીતે અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ એન્ડ મિસઅન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ બધું થઈ શકે છે, because if that balance is not kept. So this is about spoken and written, both languages. One has to know. Now, about my book. About my book, it's a very funny thing to happen. Why I wrote this book, I don't know. But the name of my book is 5 Fictions Near Real. This is my book. Now, I have added near real into it. If I had written 5 fictions only, it looks very simple. There must be some 5 વાર્તાઓ હશે આની અંદર એવું લાગે, પરંતુ મેં જે નિયર રિયલ લખ્યું છે નીચે is just to make, there are 2 purposes. Prime being that it can make little longer than just 5 fictions. It will reflect that there is something else. Secondly, although the fiction provides all kind of liberty to go heavy, it's not a truth-telling format. Fiction is not a truth-telling format, as I understand. There is enough chance to change things. Rather, make change and produce it, that makes fiction, as I understand. So, that is about my title. Now, as written therein, let me say one thing. The forward writer of my book is Mr. Akar Patel, Executive Chairman of Amnesty International India. He has, as I feel, what is written for me, it is exceeding my real impression about myself. But anyway, that is how he found me. But my forward is really interestingly written by him, and I must remain thankful to him for whatever that he has done. Now, going ahead to my stories, there are 5 stories. First being that woman, my mom. It's a story which is a very simple. We all have moms. પરંતુ આની અંદર ફક્ત એક જ વસ્તુ હું કહીશ કે when I was living with her and the way I saw her almost in a sick condition, not able to attend to many things, pleasure events, her food was restricted all the time, all her life. So I was growing before her, but she was always keeping very low. On the contrary, when she died, I sobbed for many nights and days, but I think I sobbed not for her death, but I was wondering why she was here. She should have gone away, or basically with this health, she shouldn't have born So that is then my all interactions and all these things are there in my story. I can't tell you many things and everything. Then comes age versus age. Now this is a very typical story. It's more fictitious rather than truth. It's a story about a sort of an affair between two persons with a great age gap. That age gap is actually a beautiful factor that remained with that both the characters as a thrill. Possibly Bollywood had made a few pictures like this, if you can recall. Chini Kam, I suppose. Then Joggers Park. Then also there was one more, if I am not mistaken, I can't recollect the name, but that was the balance that is shown here in the story. It's very interesting. Then comes a story I'll like to talk afterwards. Then comes a small story of the title Cobra Currency. Now to talk about Cobra Currency here is not relevant, not required, because it's a very small happening, very, very casual thing is happening. But I was impressed with myself for making the title Cobra Currency. I think anybody would be feeling a little inquisitive about what this story might be containing. The Cobra Currency is a very strange, reflective, non-reflective title. So then the next last one is Karan. This story is about a man who was a real revolter. He leaves his home in the early age and then he comes back, say, after many years. But I can't tell you more than this because it is a story of 80 years. If I'm not I don't know whether I should say this or not, but my real talent of imagination and descriptive ability is in this story, last story, Karan. The beginning of the story is very, very nice, and then it goes into flashback and then comes back to its original when that fellow comes back home and his end then. In between those things that happens is what the story is all about. Now, I would particularly say that beyond Lunesi's story, which I am mentioning now, is a very special story. It's an absolutely true story, word to word. The story has a very special narration of a boy who is under a terrific influence of some terrestrial power. Now, this terrestrial powers is here seen in the format of ebbs and tides in the oceans. આપણે ખબર છે આપણા હિન્દુ સમાજમાં તો વી નો કે અમાસ અને પૂનમની કોઈ we have typical significance of those two which comes in rotation every 15 days. Now what used to happen to this boy is the whole narration. I am the personal witness of this whole incident repetitively, how it was happening. It is absolutely true story. I would actually, I'm in touch with two producers of films to make a movie of this story. I have the confidence that the story is that powerful. This kind of element of extraterrestrial power casted on humans, the subject has not so long been covered by either Bollywood screens or Hollywood screens. It's just a very brand new concept. It's not a concept actually. It can be a concept for a movie. But as a matter of fact, it's a real reality that has happened. I have witnessed, and it is extremely exciting and worth knowing, worth understanding what can happen. We may, by my saying this, it is difficult to gauge how extraterrestrials are really working on us and how powerfully on some people we can gauge only by this story. I think I have covered enough of, by the way, let me state one thing here. If by any chance this audio video goes to some producer or somebody, I invite them. I appeal them that they will make very good fortune out of this story if it is made and projected. Now, I think about my book, this is what it is all about. About me, I have already said. So this is this.